Chris has your photos, he should be able to share them when that topic comes up. I'm gonna grab my laptop, so you guys can just start. Sorry, a minute.
Or
My grandson.
Oh,
He's gonna be in 10th grade.
I was gonna say, that she's married to, like, my mom was watching it.
Yeah,
It's a big one.
yeah. Oh, really?
It's really fun with Carlos about that.
Wait a minute to get back, everybody, and then we'll get started.
Longer. I think it's 300.
Oh, it's like Susan.
You better be careful.
I would die.
Oh,
Well,
so long.
and morning.
The ones that are.
I was drinking the sweetest ones, but I got police and so now I only have like half and half of it.
I worry about that, so. The one says that you're gonna be some.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're, I don't wanna deal with that.
Very, very uncomfortable.
Gonna happen.
7th and 8th graders might go to school drink already. So it's game.
Yeah.
It's not allowed. Morning.
Yeah.
They in the bathroom, they don't have.
Yeah.
The Celsius is the same one.
Morning, is that?
Is that-
But then they're over there.
Stuff that's ever like big enough. And they're on this show. Oh my God. You know.
All right, leave the recordings on, so can keep going. Welcome, everybody, to the June 2025 meeting of the EGPOA's Board of Directors. I'm Patrick Cannell, President of the Board. Our Secretary, Chris Loomis, is online, but Chris, if you're available, I ask you to call the roll, please. Or we have quorum.
Can I actually ask you are allotted to do that, please? Thank you.
Yeah,
Patrick.
here.
Here. Joel.
Here.
Zach.
Here.
Alex.
Here.
Beverly. Here. Dan.
Here.
Tom.
Here.
Leslie.
Here,
Chris is here. Chris, I'll call you.
I'm here. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Earl.
Earl said he would not be able to make it today, so it looks like we have a quorum. Our first item is, of course, our minutes from the May 2025 meeting. I'd ask for, if anybody has any questions, one of your board members. If no questions, can I get a motion? Great. The second?
I'll second.
Great. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none? Good to go. All right, we'll do our member homeowner questions and comments. We'll start in the room and then see if folks online have any questions or comments. To do that on Zoom, of course, use the raise hand feature, which I would assume everybody knows by now. And then I'll call on you in order. Bob?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Bob Burns. I've been in the community almost 30 years now. And I've been on the board, I look back in the early 2000s and so forth. And every meeting we've attended, we've always had pledge of allegiance. And 3 months ago, there was a jammed up case and so forth. We had a lot of things to cover. And it was decided that the pledge would not be done. And the indication from Patrick was the fact that the state now doesn't require it. and so forth, that's, it's an option. And having served, I think that option should be, continued. And, I don't know who served in this room and so forth, but anybody that doesn't want to do that to me that has never served. I talked to the following week, I thought, that Patrick would do it. He did not. I asked him, I called him during the week and asked him if he would reconsider. He said he would. And here we are, the third month, and he hasn't done it again. So I'm just asking the board to consider doing the pledge at every meeting. You have the flag right there. And also, just as a reminder and so forth, in the back of your mind, if in fact it's an option at this point and so forth, I just hope none of us live long enough and our kids and so forth to when it doesn't become an option where you cannot say it. And at that particular point in time, I hope everybody who would be alive at that particular point knows how to speak Chinese or Russian or both. Having said that, I would appreciate that the board would consider reinstituting the pledge and doing that at every meeting that we've done for the past 30 years that I'm aware of, and I know it was done prior to that. Thank you for the time.
All right, thanks, Bob. Due respect to the speech you just made, but that's not what I said. I didn't say that it wasn't required by the state. I said it's not something that a homeowners association should be doing. It's not whether it's a state option or not. I'll also say it's not a board vote matter. I'm the presiding officer of the meeting who sets the agenda, and it's not something we should be doing. Just to put it out there, we're a homeowners association. We manage budgets and properties. Pledge of Allegiance is great. I'm patriotic too, but it's a civic function that you do at government meetings. We're not a government. We don't need to be doing it. It takes away from what we're trying to do. And quite honestly, I don't know what everybody's political beliefs are around this table, but maybe not everybody wants to do that. So in order to be inclusive of it all, we've weighed in at that, and that's that. But that's for the comments. All right. Other homeowner comments in the room? Yes, Margaret.
My name is Margaret Dreyer. I live on Treasure Lake. I've been in the Treasure Lake resident for 24 years. And some of you, Joel and you other people live on that lake. We are just in shock at the state of that lake. We had everything under control and I'm not going to go into the whole history of it, but it's wall to wall water lilies on the south side, right, southeast and west side of that lake. We've never seen something like that. So just to make you aware that
I
it's
think,
really inhibiting us getting our boats out at this point.
yeah, I think that's something Joel intends to raise. I saw your messages this morning, so we'll definitely talk about that. And I'm not sure what's causing it, but
It's a different species, so we don't do it. It's bizarre.
I think we have an item on that in a bit.
Do the lilies cause harms or anything?
You can't use the boat.
It's all covered, I mean, it's covering the
It
surface.
inhibits the use, I guess.
Several years back, we got a permit from the DEC and we were able to go along the shore. They only gave us like 7 feet out, then they extended it wider to be able to get a machine in there and cut all the leaves out all the way around. But at a cost of about,
25,000.
it was more than that, I don't remember, but you know, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And I guess that has to be like every,
Well, I think what happened is with the drawdown last year, then you couldn't go out on the lake for my day. And I think what happened is with that dirt, it was wet, and it was just a perfect breeding ground.
Yeah.
And just everything just sprang up from that, but before that drawdown, we did not have a problem.
Is there a biological issue?
We're gonna, it's within the Lakes Committee report, so.
I agree with John.
Okay, we'll get to it, but Margaret, thank you for raising that. Anybody else there? Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Alasan. I'm a new homeowner here. I moved up here in March. But I just have a question about the clubhouse. I did rent the clubhouse. I know it's for the weekend, but I wasn't able to set up the place until after that Zumba class. So I brought the suggestion here and they said to bring it to the board to see if there's any way that Zumba class can be somehow moved or work something out because it's very inconvenient.
You did raise it with management?
Yes, I will talk to, the lady up here in the, office.
Do you know?
No, first time I'm hearing it.
Okay, I think Nick will look into this for us, he's our property manager, our director of property management, and so he will, take a look into that for you. If you want to connect with him,
Yes.
end of our meeting, then, Mr. Tucker, I saw your hand up.
Good morning, board members.
Good morning.
See everyone here. I hate getting out this early in the morning because I need beauty rest. Boy. I need some assistance, some information. I'm wondering if you can supply it. At the last water board meeting, they spoke about a report about how sad our water system is. Anyone recall that? Okay, is that accessible by a homeowner on some website or a copy from the office, number one?
I'm not sure which report you're referring to though. There's been a lot of reports.
This was in the main meeting, Al.
Are you talking about the update Dan gave on the status and conditions of?
Correct.
So that was more, an update of where we are with the needs of the water company and the upgrades of the
How's that, Howard?
facilities.
Is it in a written report?
The engineers.
Is it documented?
We have an engineer's report, Mr. Tucker, yes.
Can I access that?
If it's not posted, we can get a copy posted, but we can provide one to you, absolutely.
Okay, I will send in a request tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Number one. Number two, at one of the last meetings, our supervisor, Mr. Reber, mentioned that they were gonna be repaving sections of Emerald Green.
Right.
I hope so.
Does the Emerald Green Board have a listing of what streets this, when?
No, have to go to the town for that.
Go to the town for that. Okay. Last question. Is there a document stating the duties and responsibilities of being a board member?
Well,
Or just
That's a
submit
broad
a
question.
resume, and if you're elected, you're elected, but nothing that says we have to do this and we have to do that.
it's a broad question, but let me say this, we have, policies that our board has adopted. For example, conflict of interest policies, directive conduct policies, and then there are, of course, duties that are set out in New York state law. We're a not-for-profit corporation under New York. There are duties that, the law prescribes. So those are the duties, but the general responsibilities of a board member, I think you can glean it, I suppose, from our bylaws, but yeah, if you wanna run, submit a resume, we'd love to have you aboard.
Oh, no, you wouldn't believe it.
Why not?
Because that man said he lived here 30 years. He's just a piker. I'm 40 years. That's why.
Are you gonna have the time though, Mr. Tucker? You told us you only had a year left.
That's right. So I can do a little in a year. I don't want to scare you people.
Okay.
I will send in a request for what I just asked for to the office tomorrow.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you,
I wish
sir.
you all good health
you as
and
well.
to be safe.
You still go to your neighbors for shower?
I left my hearing aids out. That's my problem.
Probably for the best. Anybody online have any questions? If so, use the raise hand feature, seeing none, but we do have one more in the room. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Estelle Ross.
Yes, Stella.
I live at 78 Pebble Path. I've been here since 1981. Everyone else, please do the math. I've never been put at that. Would Nick please raise his hand? Okay, I've been to the office twice to meet you, Nick. Both times you've been out. I've had some problems, and being that I've been here so long, I would have liked to impart my wisdom to you, so to hope that you could take some advice. I have a problem with my mailbox. A neighbor across the street, on his property, a branch has fallen on my mailbox. Does not impede the mail, but it does lay across my mailbox. I was told that it's my responsibility to go to my neighbor and tell him to remove the branch from the mailbox. I think that's wrong. Why should I be the one to knock on a neighbor's door and say, hey, get your gardener to take care of your lawn? I think that it should be Emerald Green that should send a letter to the homeowner and say that, tell your neighbor, tell your gardener or you to remove on your property what is impeding a neighbor's property. That's all I'm asking for.
So, agreed, and, we try to keep up with enforcement of our rules and regulations as much as possible. It sounds like you tried to talk to Nick about it, I would encourage you to do that, so if you don't wanna address it yourself, and that's totally fine. You can report it to the office, because again, you can't see everything, yeah, and then they should deal with it, so. we'll
What's
follow
the
up with you.
neighbor's address?
No, he doesn't have any number on his mailbox. There is a mailbox that's closed off with plastic bags. I think that is Pinder, John Pinder, who's next door to me. He's across the street. I'm 78, so he has to be the odd number.
Okay, I'll take a look today.
Yeah, thank you. He's right across the street from me. It's a tall house. Yeah, that house also has been there a long time. Thank you, Nick.
You got
Now
it.
that I know who you are.
Thank you, dear.
And good luck to you
Thank you.
here in Emerald Green.
Much appreciated. We'll look into it and we'll get right back to you.
Because I remember Emerald Green when there used to be a sign on the road that said Emerald Green, a lifetime of vacations.
All right.
Like that,
So true.
all right, thank you.
Thanks,
Wow.
Tom.
Nice to see you.
Likewise. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Nick, nice to meet you.
Well, well, sir.
How are
But
you?
reintroduce yourself.
Hal Simon.
Oh, hello, how are your bike stores doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Appreciate that.
That's a plug.
Awesome. If we can do anything about the rain today, it would be very helpful.
I tried.
Just a few things that have been bugging me and possibly other residents, and it's not meant to point fingers at anybody here or anybody who was here before. Two things about the pool. We were at the pool yesterday, we finally got a great day. I don't even know if the heat was on, but the water was pretty frigid. So maybe we need to take a look at that, maybe the temp is set too low, but knowing that the pool opened last week, I'm sure it should have hit temp by yesterday. Also regarding the pool, and this has been a thorn on my side for a few years, probably since the new pool was open. We have a gate that goes from the beach up to the pool area. It's been locked. Nobody gives us a reasonable explanation as to why. I also think not only is it a hassle, but it's a security, it's a safety issue. All right, because now we're asking children who are down at the beach in order to get back to the pool to go through the parking area. All right, I think it would be a lot safer and just a lot easier for the residents if that gate was finally open. The last topic has to do with maintenance. You know, we spent a fortune of money on this beautiful building. And we made it a point of wanting to keep the facilities maintained as well as we can. To that, this building looks great, except for the floor inside. That was damaged, hasn't been addressed, and it's been going on close to 2 years. All right, I'm hoping that we can get that addressed, maybe even hold the people who might be responsible for it to take care of it the proper way. And the lake entrance by the townhomes where I am. All right, there's one gate there that's just been closed for about a year now, almost a year. I think the hinge was busted, and rather than repair the hinge, there's a plastic zip tie holding the gate closed. So I just think it would be a lot smarter rather than that, than just made the repair that's necessary. All right? And I thank everybody for your, attention to what I brought to the table. Thank you.
On the entertainment, floor space, I mean, yeah, we're 2 years on, and I know we made a decision to, use court paint. We were here in that time, and so I think we're starting to see the wear and tear. You're gonna hear a little later in the meeting that unfortunately we found another, maintenance issue in a building. I think it's gonna take priority over that. But let's see if we have the money to do both. There was, some, I would say thought level discussion early on about going back. Do you remember that, it's the interlocking, plastic court stuff?
Yeah.
Which should hold up a lot better. That's still potentially on the table, but again, we have our priorities list.
We wasn't talking about painting, Pat, when the weather got warmer, that Nick was gonna use one of his guys to touch it up a little.
Yeah, that's just a touch up.
Well, I agree.
Yeah, I think.
Somebody put tape down when they put up the.
Yeah, and I think it's just gonna happen again in a matter of no time. I don't think it's any one person or group that's necessarily responsible, and people have pointed fingers in the past, but it really is a lot of wear and tear, which, look, that's a great thing. People are using it, so,
Agreed.
so thanks for bringing that up.
Excuse me, could you just introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Patrick Cannell, president of the board.
Patrick, yes.
In regard to the gate, I think we were worried about a maintenance issue, because there's no way for people to wipe the sand off. From coming up from the beach, it was gonna bring sand into the pool.
So I think it was more of a security.
That was my next thing. was-
So just when you open it, just make sure that you people pay attention to cars is the only thing. I think that's why it was initially locked, because people were just going circumventing the front door.
But even the sand, I mean,
Yeah,
we're not requiring anybody to wash their feet. You know, so if they come through the parking lot, there's still gonna be sand on people's feet.
I did hear the same thing before.
Yeah, I never heard that as an explanation, but
Say that.
it does have some merit.
If you're gonna walk through grass, I mean, I'd rather walk through grass than the sand off, so.
I think Zach's right, there was a security issue when I thought.
All right, so Donna,
I think what they're most afraid of is that people that will be using the lake will then be able to come in through that gate and use the pool. Because a lot of people that are visitors don't have to pay the $5 visitors fee to use the lake.
Right.
If they use the lake, they will then be able to come in through the gate.
or somebody who's not in good standing could circumvent it.
Yes.
It's an issue, but,
Unless you put a guard at the gate, it is problem.
we'll give it another look and finally resolve the issue. And by the way, the post office, the postal boxes came up again last month, so. Don't clap yet until that.
No, it's just the fact that.
Still going on,
Just
yeah.
the fact that it's still going.
Just so you know that there's a lot of legacy stuff. Don, I saw you had your hand up online. Got on mute.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning. A question and a request. Like today, it's obviously, was theoretically supposed to have water aerobics at 11. I don't really do Facebook. Is there a central way for us? It's like, well, it's canceled or it's put off to this time. Like, how do we get this information in general?
So Donna, if they send us a notification that it's canceled, then we can get a message out through the mail jet and on Facebook. But unless they notify us that they're making a change, we won't know that.
Okay, so if you're notified, Nick, I just should look at my emails and they would change. Thank you. And the other thing, and I told Jenna at the pool, the clock isn't working. And I know it's not a big thing, but it's nice if you're in the water, you want to figure a half hour or whatever, you can't bring your watch in. So if we could repair that clock, that would be great. By the way, at the tennis courts, you have put in a thing that theoretically we would use our cards at some time to enter the tennis court. Nick, is that correct?
Which tennis courts are you talking about?
At the entertainium.
Okay, yeah.
There's no point in that when there's a back door that just opens. There are the kind of doors that open that you have to plunge it from the inside. So but there wouldn't be any point in electrifying to use your car to get in the tennis courts. And by the way, that back door is wonderful. Thank you. Because when a ball goes over, now you can walk out the back way instead of going around the whole tennis court. So that is an improvement, but it's just the kind of closure that you can open from either side.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. All right, I think we've got through everybody.
Hi, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi.
hi, yeah, my name is Alice Smith. I was at the pool yesterday and I noticed that the basketball hoop had been taken down in the children's area. And I heard that someone, an adult, held onto the rim and pulled the whole thing down. And therefore it was taken away. I don't know if that's true or not. But
No.
I have children and, grandchildren who really enjoy that basketball hoop. And I'm sure many children in the community enjoy that basketball hoop in the pool. And I don't feel that because one foolish person did that and pulled the whole thing down, that no one can enjoy it. And I feel it should be reconsidered to putting it up again.
Alice, thank you. It was not just one person. I'm not sure where you heard that from, but it was a multitude of issues that developed with that over the years that our then pool operator made the recommendation not to reinstall it last year, which is what we agreed with. It's just a bit more hassle than it's worth for the enjoyment. I hear your point. My kids used it too and have enjoyed it, responsibly. But there are just more problems with it from a maintenance perspective that it's not worth putting that thing back in there. We have other basketball hoops and stuff around for folks who want to enjoy basketball, but it's just the pool area, it's too difficult.
Okay, I understand, but I'm not happy about it. Thank
Understood.
you.
Thanks. Okay, Aldis.
Good morning, everyone. Two quick questions. One is, since we've seen the water level rise on Treasure Lake this year, there's been a preponderance of lily pad growth. I'm just wondering, is that something that is normally addressed or needs to be looked at in the future?
Yeah, another member raised that earlier on in our discussion. We're going to talk about that later in the Lakes Committee report. Joel has some information on that, and I believe a proposal.
Thank you. Quick question number two, with the upcoming planning board meeting, will there be anyone from our board in attendance?
Joel and Tom have agreed to sort of lead this for us. We're also in the process of retaining a professional engineer to examine the project's documents for SECRA and to better understand and articulate our position. Joel, are you able to go in person? I think that Thursday or Wednesday?
No, it's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
At 7 o'clock.
We'll be there.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Is that for the dam?
Okay, seeing no other questions or hands, we're gonna move on to the manager's report. Nick?
I'm gonna just go into that topic for 1 second regarding, what we just spoke about, the planning board meeting, just to bring everyone up to speed. I had a conversation yesterday with, Victoria Polidoro, who is a planning attorney, with Rodenhausen and Polidoro, out of Rhinebeck, New York. They've reviewed the file that we sent them and the documents. They are prepared to issue us a letter of objection to the project, with key points and highlights. And they're going to do so on our behalf. In addition, the project documents have been forwarded to Hardesty and Hanover, a planning firm out of Westchester. They are reviewing it and they're gonna get back to us with a proposal with their thoughts of objections for seeker related to that as well. And we'll have that probably back sometime midweek. And I can submit that via email to the board members to review.
Okay. And board members, if you have any questions on that, let's save that for executive session since we're getting to the legal realm.
Yes. In addition, on my management report, I have submitted a proposal with respect to the entertainment roof We have had now with the rain over the last several months, a number of leaks that we've had to repair, which have caused damage to different areas of sheetrock in the building. The water is coming in through the roof and then pooling out into the wings, causing damage to the sheetrock, which we've cut holes in to drain so that we didn't have pooling and any sustained damage. But it looks like the roof is really in need of some substantial repair, a total replacement. I am not sure why that it was not done when the entertainium and the wings were reconstructed a number of years ago. But we went out to a number of qualified contractors. We got 2 proposals. We did go to 5. We got 2 back. They are in your board packets for review. The recommendation is to go with DMR. They are the lowest qualified bidder. They also submitted references and recommendations, one being from the city of Middletown. And their proposal came in at
Lowest on the price, not the quality.
correct, lowest on price. Equal on quality, $117,300. And that is to replace the entire roof with an EGPOA material, as well as if they have to replace any plywood while they're up there at a rate of $80 per sheet. And that would be also giving us a warranty on the roof system of, let me find where that is in the quote. 15-year warranty on labor and material.
Okay, let me just tee up a little procedural point on.
It's a little more than just a roof though, in that.
There's flashing, all the flashing repairs.
Yeah, it's a.
Insulation.
Insulation, exactly.
Right, talk about scope a second, just on the procedural piece, so. While this is a relatively urgent situation, there's very little under our bylaws that this board can do, which is strange to me, and I'm gonna ask our bylaws committee to take a look at this. If that roof was literally falling down, thankfully, I think we do have a little bit of time, but if it was really gonna fall down, I guess we'd just shut the building, because we have no ability under our bylaws to spend more than 17.5 without a full member vote. And as you all know, full member vote it's tricky because you have to plan for it. Thankfully, we do electronic voting now. The electronic vendor still needs a few weeks' time. And it just takes a bit of time. So for true emergencies, it's very weird to me that our bylaws are so restrictive. Anyway, enough editorial. We're limited under section 13, which is our reserve fund section, and section 14, which is our transfer construction fund, to expenditures of 17, up to 17.5, even in an emergency situation. So we can debate this, discuss it. If we approve, it will still need to be approved. We have to approve it first in order to send it out to the membership for a vote. And I talked over the weekend with Nick about this. We do have our annual coming up in August. We think this could wait for that because I worry that, trying to do 2 elections, one in July, or 2 votes, one in July and then one in August, is a little bit of fatigue for the voters. So we're intending to hold that for a member vote, which will give us time to explain the necessity of it and explain how it's going to be paid for. I think the good news in all of that is we have had some recoveries in our AR, which will pay for this. So this isn't going to result in an assessment. This isn't going to result in additional monies out to the homeowners. It's already within our reserve fund, and I guess that's why we save for the literal rainy day. All right. Dan, did you have questions about the actual proposal or scope of it?
No. So it's just saying it's a bit more than just a roof, so.
Right.
It's encompassing everything. I don't know what the insulation level is up there right now, but I mean, it could add to the.
Warmth.
And The money is 17,000 in Bristol. Entire?
100.
117,000.
Oh, I only heard the 17.
If we could all only hear that, that'd be great.
Our limit is 17,000 that you can spend.
Just, okay. Or-
Ma'am, I'm sorry, we're just having the board discussion only. I don't mean to be weird about it, but we have a procedure. Anybody else, board members?
Can we have the reference letters? I don't think those were forwarded to us. I couldn't find anything about this contractor online.
And then do we also have, the other ones that didn't get back, that you submitted that didn't get back? You said 5, right?
I can give you names.
Yeah.
Names
Yeah.
for.
And then if we know any contractors that may be good in this area, do you want their information forwarded so you can look into them as well?
I mean, not at this point,
No.
we went out to bid and
Okay, all
the
right.
problem
Just
now is,
asking.
the only problem now is if we do that,
Mhm.
now that there's bids established, it
Just
undermines
a
the
question,
process of
just a
bidding.
question.
No, I'm
asking.
just clarifying, it would undermine the process of bidding if you do that now.
No problem.
Other questions? Okay, so we're at a decision point.
But I
Anybody?
can forward the references. They were sent in.
Can I ask-
Before I vote on
Can I ask one
anything.
question?
I would agree with that statement, I would just, yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't find, I tried to search the contractor, I couldn't find any information on him, like any website, any references online. I'd like to just see those before we.
Okay, let's get back to that second. Chris?
Can I ask, will the 117 estimate hold and be good long enough for us to take a member vote?
30 days, it says.
I would think if they're reputable that we could, this shouldn't be a problem, but.
I will ask them,
I don't,
with the understanding of the vote to guarantee their contract, if that's the route we're going to go.
how much further were the other ones? Were they around the same ballpark and this one just happened to be a couple bucks or were they 200, 300?
Because 121 is 117.
Well, it's not gonna matter,
Yeah.
even in 30 days, if we have to. No, there was two different types of membranes that Home Pro used to bid them. But
But I-
to ask the contractor to hold the price for 30 days, you don't know what 30 days is gonna look like with the cost of materials on that.
But what about the damage? Like, we're still gonna have existing damage, we're gonna have rain, we're having it now.
We'll have to repair that in the meantime, so then we can do about
Can you-
that. So
In the meantime, or you can't do that?
We
Because
can,
that would probably be the easiest protection to make sure there's no further damage, and there are people that do that. I don't know how much it would cost, but,
We could tarp the roof,
or at least where you're leaking, I mean.
Not, you mean put a tarp?
Yes, that's what you're supposed to do when that happens, so you don't have more damage,
I think even just a steel toe would
something.
stop it right now.
good idea.
I mean, that's what you,
So I don't know if we have an answer right now, but we'll
Yeah, that's
figure it
fine.
out.
Excuse me, guys,
Yeah.
DMR Construction doesn't have a phone number listed under quote. Did anybody see that?
Yeah, well, let's say that's what I was saying. I couldn't find information on the contractor. I couldn't find on Google information on him either. So I was just.
Yeah. It's-
If we have to replace the roof, how old, this roof is old, right?
Yeah, it wasn't replaced at all during the renovation of
The
this building.
concern that we should have is, I don't know when it was put in, if there's asbestos in there.
Is that?
If there's asbestos in this roof
We
before,
will, let's maybe hold that thought and not guess. If that's all right, guys, I wanna make sure that whoever's
I
out
said
there.
if, I don't know.
Yeah,
But then that's a whole process that we have to get
Abatement.
an appraiser and a whole thing just to avoid any fines or danger, et cetera.
Yeah.
I don't know if this bid, I would hope that they've looked at that and made a bid, Nick, I don't know. That's very
What-
important.
And there was a reason we didn't replace, or it wasn't replaced, I don't want to speak on the, but I was there, but there was a reason we didn't replace it. Do we know why we didn't replace it?
money?
That's
Alex indicates money.
He could answer, he could have tested that.
All nods money. All right, Dan?
As far as I knew, it was just supposed to have been resealed every few years. And it's likely for a reason that we were just gonna seal it every few years.
All right, Leslie, your hand's still up. Did you have something further or was that?
Yeah, no, I want to say that perhaps when we started the construction on the entertainment, what if any permit with the building this old, any building permit that could have been filed, there should have been a asbestos testing done. But I don't know if
Yes.
that was, so maybe it's buried there somewhere. If there was an asbestos testing done and there was nothing found, and that's how.
That's true. We may
Because
have a mechanism.
when I go and do my asbestos test, and I am certified on that, the that's the building department requires that when you want to do a remodel, demolition, anything like that in old buildings, usually.
There's no requirement in the state of New York to, when you do a roof, to file a asbestos, survey for this project, just so you know.
Just lead.
No, I understand that for the roof. I'm just saying.
It would not have triggered that though, Lindsay, just so you know. It
All
wouldn't have
right.
triggered.
All right, well, we're guessing at this point, so let's do two things. We'll have to go back to the contractors to get additional information on that. We'll also need the references from DMR. We, need to figure out the procedure of this though, because, or this can't wait till our July 20 whatever meeting, because then we won't have enough time really to get this out for vote to the membership. So, if we're gonna hold on this for now, we may have to do a special meeting of the board of directors in order to approve it.
Unless you made a motion to adjust the, or repair the roof when it's fixed.
I'm reading the room and I'm not feeling like that's gonna, ma'am, I'm so sorry, but we really, it's just the board members only at this point.
Oh.
Really appreciate it. So I'm reading the room. It doesn't sound like we have a call for a vote, but anybody can make a motion if they wish.
What's the motion you're looking for?
I'm over, well,
No, I would just.
I would vote I make a motion that we get this done sooner than later and not wait.
I don't think that there's any question about that. I don't think we need to vote on that. It's really, we need to vote on a contract and proposal. And if we're not there yet and no one's willing to make that motion to say, hey, let's go with DMR, let's do it now. Then we can do this by special meeting between now and our July meeting. That'll give us enough time to get it on the ballot.
And Patrick, you could also have a special meeting of the members, I think it's just 10 days notice on that. If we need a member.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that, what I was saying earlier, Marvin, I know everybody doesn't know Marvin, he's our legal counsel, so, that's why we're recognizing Marvin to speak. Yeah, just with our vendor, our, electronic voting vendor, they need a few weeks' time, to get everything set up, and it literally takes a few weeks to hold it, or about a week or 2 weeks to hold it, get everybody registered, and so by that point, we're almost to August anyway.
Yeah, then you're there.
Okay, I'm not encouraging anybody not to try to approve one of these if they want. I know Nick's writhing over there and wanting to see us get something approved, but if folks aren't there yet, respect that.
Just so you know, we've 211,000 in the cap reserve fund and 100.
Can you speak up? That's important information. I couldn't hear it well.
So just so we know that in the cap reserve fund, we have $211,000. In the PNC fund, we have $168,000. So we can pay for this without assessing people.
And we also have additional monies.
Yeah.
Does that include from property issues?
The most recent one, probably not.
No, it doesn't include
Yeah,
that. It doesn't include the 65,000 that Martin was nice to get for us.
I should have a check by Monday or Tuesday.
Perfect. And then we have another 20,000 from another settlement. So we're doing well on our cap.
Okay.
Futuristically, I would just include all of us on, like, when you guys go back and forth on this, Nick just sent it, just so not that blindsided, but no, could actually just vote on it and move forward.
Yeah, it wasn't baked. I mean, honestly, I don't want to put every board member on every email from everybody, but he was, going to the treasurer and Chris that.
Chris asked.
I'm just saying, if you guys wanted something to be passed, it would just be the community, like, I would just discuss it, because.
Yeah.
Maybe this makes a ton of sense.
Chris asked the question the other day, do you have references? And I responded directly to
Can I-
Chris in the email.
Can I make a motion to have the roof patched in the meantime? while we wait
We
on this.
don't, we don't need to, we just patch the roof as it needs to be patched when it leaks, but
Right, but
we don't
if it's
know
above,
it's leaking.
if it's above a certain amount, we might need.
Whatever the threshold is, yeah.
So,
Is there more than 17.5?
No,
it's less. Talking about
more
a
than
couple of 5 gallon
management
jugs of tar going up there and patching it, just to hold it over until this can get done.
I mean, does anybody have any sense of what that?
No,
About
because we don't,
3 to 5.
we don't know that what it costs until it leaks, right? So
I would say between 3 and 5.
You're just chasing all over the roof, on a roof like that.
All right, so Daniel, motion is to approve spending between 3 and 5,000 to patch and repair in the meantime.
Just to hold this over until then.
Okay, I'll second that.
Wait, I didn't get the motion. Dan motion. Chris wants me to write it.
Yep, Dan Dan motions motions to. to. Helping it potentially?
Well, yeah, the tarp, I get the understanding, but on a flat roof, tarp's not gonna help you.
Well, let's, okay, I mean, I don't know one way or the other, but.
You definitely need
Certainly not.
asphalt.
I don't think of that, you're right, because flat roof.
So the motion,
There's no picture at
the
all.
motion is to spend between $3,000 and $5,000 to temporarily secure or repair the roof in the best means possible within that $3,000 to $5,000 range while we consider.
It's not permanent.
Correct, while we consider a more permanent solution.
Can I try for a second? So what happens if it's raining now, it's leaking, we call the guy Monday, he comes, he spends $3,000 to $5,000 to patch it. A week from now, another rainstorm comes and another leak opens up someplace else. Are we gonna cap it at, let's say, 3 or 4, or what do you?
I think we cross that bridge when we get there. It's,
I'm just saying you're putting bad money after good.
yes.
So we can, there's ways of doing it, you can spread it right across it, you'd be okay.
We don't really have a choice.
Could I ask who you recognize?
Yeah, Chris, please.
Can I ask somebody to specify what funding source the money will be drawn from?
I would say the TNC's or the capital repairs.
Yeah, I would say capital reserve.
Not for the 3,000, that'd be repairs.
Sorry?
For the 3,000 would be just repairs.
Well, it's not an operating expense. I mean, it's more of a capital.
Improvement.
Yeah.
You're not improving anything, you're just refixing something, but do what you want.
It's not budgeted though, so.
It's, yeah, I would take it out of, reserve.
I would
Well,
think,
Dan, it's your motion, you decide.
I would say contingency. They got
Okay.
contingency.
So I'm
coming out of the reserve fund.
motioning to spend up to $5,000 on patching the roof from the capital reserve fund.
Okay, with that clarification, thank you, Chris. All right, it's been made, seconded. Anybody else have any
Wait,
questions?
seconded.
I did.
Question for Nick. The contractor who did job for the whole 117. If we can't vote on this for several months, is he still gonna have time on his agenda to get us on the list?
I can certainly ask him, and I can also ask him if he'll guarantee the price if it takes until August to
Get a final approval.
get a final approval.
Those are the last months as roofer that you're running crazy. How busy is he or she?
These are crude materials though, so those prices fluctuate heavily. That's the problem.
I agree. I can ask, what the guarantee, I'll ask them of both contractors, are your prices guaranteed? Can you extend those guarantees for 90 days, not 60? And will you have availability if we were to award the contract on August 25th, let's say? Would you be able to guarantee it to those dates? I think that would give us a better window.
Yeah, I hope some, I know everyone on is booked out. So you gotta make sure we can get in this.
Everything's a moving target and it's gonna be
Tells you what happened.
difficult, but this is the procedure we have to file out for bills this big. Okay, so we do have a motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Going to move on to our financial review. You board members, tab 3 of your board book is the May 2025 financial report plus our treasurer's variance report for your information. I'll ask Joel to present this and then we can vote on posting of the May 2025 financial report.
So, thank you, Pat. Basically, we're doing well. We filled out 395,000 in the construction assessment. And we've collected approximately 223 of that. So that's been good. There's about 40,000 outstanding from old debt from prior years on that. I had an issue with the separate funding account that we set up. Unfortunately, the accountant gave me some numbers that I'm not comfortable with. So what I'm gonna do is work with her this week to get that worked out, and I'd like to be able to, once that's squared away, I'll send out a schedule to everybody. And then to vote on the funding that currently, through May. So if I can get a motion that that's okay, that would be a good thing. So I have a second on that or not?
Wait, you have to clarify.
I didn't-
the motion
I didn't
and
hear
then the motion was.
Okay, basically the motion is that during this week, I'll submit a schedule listing what the balances are for the fund and the increase to bring it current through May. At this point, I'm not comfortable doing that. So I'd like to be able to send that an email to everybody. And then once everybody sees it, you can ask me questions. And if there are no questions, I'd like to be able to have an electronic vote authorizing us to fund that, authorizing Nick to fund that.
Well, wait, so if you're gonna have an electronic vote after people have had a right opportunity to ask questions, you don't need to have a vote now,
No, that's-
now to send somebody an email.
Okay,
What
fine.
do you wanna vote on them?
Oh, basically, we haven't funded this in a few months because the balances haven't been squared away. So I'm going to get that squared away this week. So once I give that schedule to you guys, I'd like to be up with that schedule, there'll be an amount of money to move from the operating account to the fund account. And
To the capital reserve, correct?
no, yes, it's a special account that has multiple, it's our reserve account, there are multiple
Yeah,
funds in
okay.
that account.
The non-operating.
Right, correct.
But what are we actually looking to fund? We just putting money into that account?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly.
Just saving the access for
Right.
more rain.
So,
Okay, so you can send that out. So where are we on the financial reports? Questions for Joel? Dan?
I think we should table it until we get that information.
No motion, there's no.
no, I'm just letting you know what I'm doing, that's all.
Yeah.
Can I
we're
ask-
good. Wait, hang on, Chris, hold on. Dan had his hand up, his recognized.
Leslie was asking about the accounting over.
I can give that information to Leslie.
It made me look at the accounting line.
Mhm.
We're currently about 30% over budget and we're projected to possibly be 60% over budget by the end of the year.
The reason for that is that when we originally did the budget, we were figuring that the outside accountant would only come in on a quarterly basis as compared to a monthly basis. And what's happened with all the upheaval in the office, that we need them in on a monthly basis. On a go-forward basis, Nick and I are gonna work together so that we'll go back to that schedule of having her come in, and that should alleviate the problem going forward.
So she's gonna go to quarterly now? And she's aware?
Not yet, we're gonna tell her.
Alright, yeah.
But she knew about the quarterly because I spoke to her about that when we did the budget, so this is not gonna be a big.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna stay on the quarterly. That's fine.
Yeah, no, but I said with everything that was going on, with all the employee changes and things like that, it was just too much to ask Nick to do that with everything else that was going on, so.
I have questions about that accounting rundown as well, but I want to, Chris, you were next.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? So am I to understand we'll just wait to vote on the financials later this week, which I'm fine with. We've already, the board had previously authorized all non-operating funds to be in that account. I don't think we need to have a vote to physically move money if it's in keeping with that previous authorization. As long as we're approving the financials, like I don't really see why we need to vote every time we're moving money between accounts if it's in keeping with kind of our previous decisions on this.
That's just the way I was raised, that I don't move money without letting people know. I don't do anything by myself.
Right, but to Chris's point, we don't need to have an actual vote on it. You can just let us know, hey, guys, this is the amount.
I understand. Joel just wants to cover his bases.
That's it. I just don't want to do anything where anybody's surprised.
Yeah,
That's fine. If that's okay, if you're gonna give me that freedom,
Right.
that's fine.
But Chris, it doesn't mean we're not gonna vote on the financials, which we will in a moment. I expect.
Yeah.
Other questions for Joel? Okay, I wanted to come back to the accounting piece. We're spending 18,000 or did in 2024 for an audit. Then there's an additional 1,200 for a workers' comp audit and an additional 12,000 for preparation of consolidated financial statements. So that's 20.
Those are taxes.
It's the taxes, it's also the work papers that.
But the taxes are broken out differently, right?
Yeah.
There's 800 for the 1096, 1099 preparation. I thought I saw tax. Yeah, work papers for taxes and audit of prep of 1120H 13.5. Look, my point is,
That's a good.
I'm not sure how much of this is pure audit. That is absurd.
Yeah,
I think we need to review this service provider
I think we need
because
to get
I'm telling
proposals
you.
From accounting firms.
I'm telling you, my building in the city that I run, we have a budget twice the size of EGPOA and we pay about 12.5 for fully audited financial statements every single year. So it's a full audit of an outside management firm. I'm very thankful, Jolie, you sent those to us, and I'm not criticizing anybody around this
No,
table by any means. I've only seen it in dribs and drabs, so thanks to Leslie for bringing the issue forward. I'm
Well, also what you gotta remember.
blown away by that amount. I know it includes the water company.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna say?
That's
I know it includes the water company as well. Perhaps we should have them break out even further, but still.
But
That's
the
a
water
lot.
company pays them as well. In addition to this, for the work that the water company has.
For accounting or for audit? I'm focused only on the audit.
Accounting.
Yeah, the accounting is one thing. I was just struck by that audit number. That's a lot. And I'm not sure the rest of the case for that, but let's get,
I'm not to change it. It's fine.
yeah, let's get some,
Well, I think part of it, I wanted to make sure, because every time we pick up the phone or every time we email them is an expense.
right, that's time and expense for the accounting piece, but I'm just zeroing in on the audit side. Again, I think that is like triple the amount that should be, and it's bananas to me. So anyway, we'll get proposals and take a look at that. So we now have the question of approving the May 2025 financials. If no further questions for Joel, can we get a motion?
Before we get to the
Yeah.
motion, did we approve the month prior? I thought we put that one on hold.
No, we did, we approved.
We
Oh,
had,
that was the month before that.
yeah, correct, right.
Okay.
Yeah, May, we had to do 2 months.
I'll motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Second. Great, Alex seconds, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain on that. I'm gonna abstain on that one.
Okay, one abstention, any opposed? Any recusals? Any other abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Have we been updating the website?
I checked it this morning, it was there.
Well, and it's everything.
Fantastic. All right. We're gonna move on to the water company piece, but before turning it over to Dan, I want to introduce Dr. Margaret Dreyer to the EGPOA board. We have one vacant seat on the EGLLM board, water company board, and Dr. Dreyer has graciously given us her CV and a promise of her time, and so she's applied for our consideration. So I want to give the EGPOA board members an opportunity to talk to Dr. Dreyer and see if you have any questions, and if not, we can move forward. So why don't you, Margaret, if you want to just introduce yourself and.
Okay, my name is Margaret Dreyer and I have lived at Emerald Green for 24 years. I've been extremely active in the maintenance of Treasure Lake quality, water quality, and as Joel knows, and Rich Brown, who's not here, maybe he's online. Are you online, Rich? And it's an ongoing challenge. That lake is the most beautiful lake in the whole county. Who's disagreeing with that? I mean, it's got everything. It's got little islands in the middle. We have every species of fish, and ducks and geese and frogs that you can imagine. Snakes, which we love to. We embrace all species in this lake. And we want to preserve that, but it is under threat. And that some of it is natural and it had a problem. Done, how many drawdowns have we done? Maybe 4 drawdowns every 2 or 3 years. So 10 years ago, we applied for this permit to draw it down in the winter, and it was extremely successful. We went from like 90% coverage, water lilies, to 5 to 10%. And you draw down, expose the bottom of the lake for out to about 20 feet, and it killed all the water lilies that were close to the shore, which were the real problem because we literally couldn't get our boats out. So that problem we thought was solved until, and we won't spend time going into it until last year when the water level was down all summer. And we've had this resurgence of these water lilies that are actually a new species. The yellow flowers as opposed to white, and outside Joel's house and down the other end, it's just wall to wall. There's no open space. So we, once again, but we're experienced, we're dedicated, and we're gonna solve this problem like we solved every other problem. And, so that's my background. And now I'd like to join the water company, mostly because I'm interested in development in this area. And that we don't overdevelop the area and cause a degradation of the water quality, principally in Treasure Lake. And I'm talking about what they call Rock Hill Estates. I don't know what the latest count is, but it was 6 huge townhouses, 6 individual houses and
60 total.
60 total, which is massive on this small little lake, which is 20 acres. It's ridiculous. In every study you look at, the ratio of development of quality of water is very well defined what it is. And I think DEC says it should be 25 ratio of development of the air of the watershed into the lake over that lake was currently at 43. So we don't even, we're above the limit to maintain the quality of that water for all the plants and animal species that are in there right now. So in that argument alone, we want questioning, and we're trying to limit the development on that lake, which, and everybody here should know there's a town hall meeting on Wednesday night. Public hearing on development of that lake, around that lake, so please try to come.
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday.
Tuesday, 7 o'clock.
You'd have been the day late.
Okay, so, in my experience, I know, thanks for acknowledgement of my PhD, which is in biochemistry. My undergraduate was chemistry, and I know I told Joe and Rich, I know the difference between nitrate and nitrite. So, I do have experience in basic chemistry, and I think what's coming into the water from outside, we really have to keep better track of that. And I'm just looking at the DEC website, and there's no link up between water quality for drinking and water quality for fish and birds, and we don't cross tabulate those two data sets. Am I right?
You're giving me some information I'll have to take a look into for you. The tabulating is not on my tabulation.
I mean, the water quality as far as drinking is carefully monitored, correct? From Lake Louise Marie.
That's correct.
Right, so everybody said, that's fine, don't worry. You know, but then I see arsenic is high when you do the DEC for the ecology and the plant and animal growth.
Are you talking about Lake Louise Marie or Treasure? Yes, yep, it is.
All right, Margaret, they're gonna put a hard hat on you and send you right into the water plant in no time. Anybody have any questions?
Actually, I do.
Yeah.
Remember the girls who did the report years ago? Have you kept track of the endangered species in Treasure Lake at all? In your travels when you paddle out and stuff? To make sure they're still there?
You got the Hudson, what was the company that you got to do that survey before last summer?
I don't.
From the college.
Yes.
Where
No, but she was college, but last summer, Tom Hanley got the guys from Hudson, who was it, Joel? The company.
That was run through the LCA, I think.
Well, those were,
yeah, I know you're
I think.
No, this was a really nice water.
Is that Princeton Hydrants?
No, it's Hudsoni was the name of the company. It was run through the Lakes Community Alliance.
Yeah, Hudson something.
Oh, I think I had that report.
Anyway, they did look at endangered species. So
On
we
Treasure?
did that, yeah, on Treasure, we did that report out.
Yeah, I circulated that to everybody. It was provided.
Yeah, that's what someone did. Yeah,
And
Marcy emailed it to
they're
me
an
again.
established, well-recognized, water quality company, mostly ecological, not, drinking water.
So the only thing that I would ask is your love for Treasure Lake gonna conflict with Lake Louise Marie? Because that's the source water that we use for the water plant.
No, but I think we have to, I think we should be cross-referencing that data.
I'm great. I just worry that you might not love Lake Louise Marie as much as you should, because that's where our source water
I
is
know.
now. Let's get the boots on the ground for that lake now.
Right, I agree.
Any other questions for Margaret, board members?
Is it Tuesday night?
Yes,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday night where?
At the town of Thompson, near Home Depot.
Yes. Cause I went to the one last time.
Thank you, and I mean, it's all numbers, it's all in numbers, if
Yeah.
we show up and we get a
Yes.
huge turnout, that's the most important thing we can do.
I went
To
last
stop this
time.
development.
Folks, I just want to focus on the issue at hand, which is an appointment to the water
Okay.
company board.
Lake Louise Marie.
Not that the other part is not important, but this is what we're dealing with right now. So, any other questions for Margaret on her appointment for the water company board?
I just want to recognize, thank you for your volunteer. It's
Indeed.
much appreciated for willing to step in and support the water company, so I appreciate that.
Great. Hearing no other questions or comments, I'll make a motion to approve Margaret for the fifth and remaining seat of the EGLLM Water Company Board.
I'll second.
Seconded by Joel. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, congratulations, and more importantly, thank you.
Thank you, and I wait to hear from you.
And
Yeah, Dan will be in
you'll hear
touch.
from me a lot.
All right, we're gonna have the rest of the water company report, we're gonna move along. Dan, capital improvement projects and the holding tank project, if you could give us an update and then also give your general update. You pick how you wanna do that.
Well, we got a lot going on with the capital projects. We met with a bond council on Thursday. David Barr, we also met with the IDA and Sullivan Funding Corp. Throughout this process, we're looking to get the project bonded. So we're making some good headway with that. Nick's got 4 bullets to work on with myself and the water company, so we'll look to get that done and completed as soon as possible, so we can get the ball rolling on the funding part. We did dig up and find the variance for the approval for the original tank, because there is a height variance in the town of Thompson, so we do have that approved. We just gotta ask for an extension on that.
Ladies, sorry, we're just, the owls will pick up a lot of background noise and Dan's trying to project for our table.
If you guys could just give us 1 minute, yep. So, we're moving along with that. We do have, some quotes coming in from Whitcon and TAM Enterprise, so, I can give some preliminary figures.
Just one thing quick while Dan's pulling those together, we also, part of the IDA discussion is that we are looking and may be eligible to receive a sales tax and fortune tax abatement as part of our project incentives. So there could potentially be a savings to the project in the neighborhood of about $200,000 of sales tax abatements that we will receive by doing the project with the IDA. And by going with the IDA and bonding this project, we could save on the actual interest of bonding as opposed to going conventionally with a bank, which was the original proposal that was on the table. And also by bonding the project, it will allow us to extend the term of the funding out and also not require us to encumber assets of the water company. So that makes the project obviously more attractive for the water company and the PLA as a whole. So, sorry, Dan, go ahead.
No, that's great. I would have talked about all of those things, but Patrick wanted me to try and be quick. Sorry, we know how much I talk, so. So, couple quotes we got back right now, all in with the tank right now, and obviously these are quotes, so they're subject to change. From Whitcon, we got $2,581,500. From TAM Enterprise, we got $3,127,585. So those are quotes for the tank and phase 1 and 2 upgrades. Any questions on the capital before we move on?
Those are the only 2 bids you got?
Those are the 2 reputable bids that we got, yes.
And give me the numbers again, it was 2 million and 3 million?
2.5.
2,581,500, 3,127,585.
Any reason for the big discrepancy between the two, or?
TAM is,
Just, yeah.
TAM's big, so, I mean, they can afford to quote high.
Got it.
And also make sure that we wanna touch on these quotes now incorporate the cost of a 200 kW generator, which was not in the original specs at all. So, and that does not include the, engineer's costs, so we'll have to roll that into the bonding process as well. Any questions additional on the, capital?
The only one who's gonna be paying.
No.
Lake Louise Marie is.
All water users in a debt service will be part of the PSC.
Okay, board member questions for Dan, any?
None?
Okay,
General, water company order, we did have a, long-term employee, put in his resignation, this past week. Don't recall the day, but, we're gonna lose Anthony Freeman. July 4th will be his last day. Wish him well. He's moving on to additional career opportunities for him. Overall, though, it's not gonna have a large impact on the water company operation. We got pretty good understanding of what we're gonna do moving forward, so. Other than that, I mean, pretty much business as usual. Water company is doing well. We met all of our rate case requirements. PSC has been notified on everything and everything.
Great. Any board member questions for Dan on the general update? All right, hearing none. First of all, I want to thank Aldous for your comment in the chat, because I did go look it up. I'm not sure where we started this Tuesday business. Wednesday, June 25th, 7 p.m. is the planning board meeting. All right, so if you listened earlier, it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday. Wednesday.
You were right.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
looking for a notice, it'll say.
They corrected it in that notice that was sent out by the LCA.
You can go Tuesday as well, though I think it'll be lonely. All right, Wednesday, the 25th, just clearing that up, okay? All right.
Thank
you. Okay.
So with that, thanks, Dan. We're gonna move on to our committee reports. First up, Joel, you have Lakes. This is tab 5 of your board members.
I don't know, Chris, could you send up the pictures that I sent you? You bring that up when he's allowed to be able to.
No, I can't, I'm not.
Wait,
It's gonna have to be somebody,
Okay.
Chris is sharing and if
Oh,
he has.
but he may not. So, Joel, I'll try to do this.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what pictures.
It's what I sent to Chris this morning.
Okay, because one came in as a movie file.
Yeah, I think the movie some.
Okay.
This is a picture of you fishing.
No, I wish.
Joel, why don't you, well, we tee this up, why don't you describe the rest of your report?
Basically, what's happening on Treasure Lake is we've been infested with weeds, in the bays along where Margaret lives and stuff there. Primarily, yeah, I don't know why, but the only I can equate it to is last year we had that problem with the water level of the lake and there wasn't enough in all the bays. So maybe that set up a perfect germination section for all these weeds. But the thing, I've never seen it this bad, so it's just wall to wall. I've reached out to a gentleman, who is based over in White Lake, where he was able to come in with a machine and harvest the weeds in Treasure Lake as well as in Davies. Because in Davies, we have another problem with an invasive species in there, this cottonwood or something that, the big issue is we don't want that to come over to Lake Louise, and it's very easily spread. So what I'm proposing is up to $25,000. It's gonna be about 10 days. I don't have much information from the guy. I just got that quote from him. I'll distribute more information as I get it from him. The issue I think that we have is that it is a gas powered vehicle, but it's not, there's no prop in the water. The gas part of the machine is on the engine. Huh? It's not a jet. It actually works. It has these rollers that propel it along, and it helps it literally harvest the weeds onto our deck, and then they take those weeds and they offload them at the shore.
So on the screen, folks,
that's the good picture.
Current?
No, that's not current. That is.
I'm sorry, the prior?
That's the prior. That's the way it's supposed to look.
Whose backyard is that?
Mine.
It's Joe. What
It is in fishing.
That's Treasure Lake.
That is, it's a beautiful lake. It's a beautiful. lake.
Vested interest in the lake, I think.
Treasure Lake, Manchester.
Over Manchester.
And then you get the other one up, it's just all that area that you're seeing there, it looks beautiful with reflection, all that. That's all that's covered.
down.
on.
Hold on, let me share again.
I should have taken that still.
We deserve to laugh.
I made one still for
Oh, you did, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, just sharing.
On everything.
Joe, while you're giving that up, I would just say another homeowners association has the same rules and regulations about gas powered boats being on the lake. just amended their rules to allow
Maintenance.
for the HOA to hire someone to do maintenance as an exemption or waiver from the rules. So if you can do that, that's very doable. I just have a concern, any approvals that are needed, is a DEC of jurisdiction as far as.
We'll have to reach out.
You got it, I think you have to get.
100%. 100%.
And that's gonna take some time.
Right, 100%.
When we did it last time,
We did it
that's
last-
all we did. We reached out to DC, they came, and there was no issue about a gas motor.
No, it's not
just saying.
That's not a DEC
The
regulation.
gas is, that's all.
Oh, we asked DC though.
Well, just to
We
clarify.
have to just file a permit application
Yeah.
for the removal.
The
And the
gas-
first thing they,
Right, so hang on.
one second. Then, they only gave us 7 foot, correct?
No, we got 20 feet, I think.
Just afterwards, but the second time, and they increased it.
Right.
So, I mean,
The
I see
argument
what-
was just to get the boats out, so that's why they gave us 7 feet.
and they gave everybody, whoever's on the lake, I think it was like 10 feet to get out.
Yeah,
So they cut in between.
But on this lake here, we have an invasive species, so we gotta clean up this whole thing.
So on the screen, folks, is what Joel shared,
You
what
gotta
is the
zoom
current
in.
condition, so this is what
and
Treasure Lake is facing.
that
Zoom-
that
can you
photo
zoom in?
doesn't really capture what it's like.
Yeah, you can't really, like you see it to the right, but that whole bay is covered with.
It's just-
Yeah, it's always been, tough. That area.
Okay, so we stop share and, so Joel, this is,
I actually remember the application, it was quite quick because the season had already begun.
Mhm.
Right, and as long as we kept it to that 20 feet.
this is a tab 6 of your board books, board members, sorry, tab 5. Is Joel's committee report with the attached. That's the same.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's,
And so can you, articulate your motion?
so basically what I'm looking for is for the board to allow us to spend up to $25,000, which will probably be approximately 10 days to clean up both ways.
Speak up.
Sure, I'm asking for the board to approve an amount of up to $25,000 to clear up the weeds in Davies Lake and in Treasure Lake. And if there's any extra, if there's anything in Lake Louise, we would also do with Lake Louise if there's money left over.
Can I ask a question or
Yeah.
do I have to wait till it's?
No, you can ask now, that's fine.
Okay, last time we had a budget late.
There is, you do. have
Okay,
now.
so we just used that money, we didn't have to ask.
Well, that was gonna be my question in point 2, is to clarify within your motion, Joel, where is the money coming from?
From the Lakes Reserve, it's
Okay.
25,000 in there,
Yeah.
so there's money.
I don't see, You know, if we approved to do it, let's do it. That's it.
So this is spending the money that's already been budgeted.
Correct.
Okay.
Can we just get a more official quote though, because
This is what he gave me, you know, he said if we go further, I'll get you a more official quote, I'll get you pictures of the machine. But just, I need to know if we're willing to spend this money, so I know once the man's starting.
Okay, if folks are comfortable, can we get a second?
I'll second it.
Great. Any other questions or debate on this? Great, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain, just.
Okay, any recusals, any abstentions, 1 abstention? Any other abstentions?
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay, 2. With that, the motion passes. Thank you, Joel. You wanna quickly finish the rest of the Lakes report and then,
Yeah.
since you have the pool, committee report as well, that's tab 6 board members, we'll go right into that too.
So the other thing that's happening today, we're gonna try and do the next section of the CSLAP report on Treasure Lake, I don't know if that's gonna be successful, and then, that's about it, everything else is going down. So, there was one other thing that I wanted to do, to try and get kids out of the pool and into the lake. We were talking about getting like an aquatic trampoline. They're running about $1,500. I had to check with the insurance people, make sure that we don't have any potential liability for that, but it would be a good thing to do to give our teenagers something to do in the lake, so that would be. another-
You're up to almost $150,000 today, Joe.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry?
Dan's
We didn't approve the roof yet.
tabulating.
We have the money, so it's a good thing. So that would be another motion, you know, and I'll I'll work with Nick on getting that product.
I think
To
there
be
was a-
clear, that's not baked in a motion stage for today.
Okay, fine.
Joel's saying they'll get some proposals.
I think there's a liability, that was the only concern.
Yeah, I'm gonna work that out.
We'll work that. Joel, just on lakes quickly, very briefly, we have the gentleman here today, and this is Tom
Yes.
as well, but we have a gentleman here today diving the lake. To locate some valves, to do the dam, upgrades and repairs that we have to do, so we'll be reporting back on that, at the next meeting. And we should have, further updates, on the repairs, here to Treasure Lake Dam, at the end of the road here, so we'll have updates for the next meeting for that as well, so just wanted to give a quick overview on that.
Questions for Joel on either of those committees, and then I have. No, okay, Joel, I'm not intending to remind you, but, I note that you wanted to talk about your service on the pool committee?
Say it, please.
You wanted to talk about your service on the pool committee, or have you changed? your mind?
Yeah, if I can get off the pool committee, I'd greatly appreciate that. If someone else can take that over.
Do we have somebody else who's willing to step up? You don't have to do it right now, not put anybody on the spot. Joel would like to cycle off the pool committee if we have anybody who would like to step up to that role on their own.
I'll stay on, I'll stay on the committee, I just don't want to chair it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind jumping in, I'm
fine.
peaked out right now.
Yeah.
Jim, I'm peaked out.
All right, we'll
Talk about
yeah, we'll get there. We'll get to the relief you need. Back to the agenda, hold on. Lengthy document, yeah. Bylaws committee, there was no meeting, but I did have a check-in with the members of the bylaws committee about whether we needed, whether anybody wanted to talk about, meet and talk about any potential bylaw changes to propose to the membership for our August annual meeting. Doesn't seem like there's any groundswell of desire to do that. That was then Nick and I had a conversation this weekend where we were talking about the roof piece. I'm gonna convene the bylaws committee in the next week or two to talk about some changes that I'd like to propose that I'm sure are gonna be really not controversial around raising our spending limits. 17.5, I don't know when that was written, but that's
long time.
exceedingly low. And I mean, we can't get a light post for that.
Probably we could buy a house.
So, we really need to revisit how that all works. I understand the rationale for it, but anyway, gonna bring that up with the bylaws committee and we'll see where that goes. All right, the board only budget AR and audit committee did not meet. Oversight, Earl, who's not with us, advises there was no meeting of that committee. And the strategic planning and finance committee, didn't have a reason to meet, so that's done. Events and welcoming.
We are literally in real time emailing about the water aerobics kickoff that was just asked. So I think we're postponing it till Wednesday is the tentative plan, so anybody on the meeting right now, the kickoff that was scheduled for 11 o'clock is being postponed.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense to do it this afternoon, because it looks like it will clear up, and I don't really want to interfere with it. but-
Yes, and Nick will get that notice out as soon as.
For events, is it,
I'm still going.
oh, good, sorry.
So, the calendar was posted for. The calendar was posted and sent, for the month of July. We have several events over the course of the weekends. We did get a request at our last, trivia night to have more reminder emails about that. People want the day and give us kind of reminders to remember what's on the topic.
Maybe we'll just like send either a Thursday or a Friday, once a week, kind of.
Yeah, I think this will be helpful just for the community. There seems to be people who utilize the West Wing just for general use. And as we're kind of getting more events going in there, they're surprised by the events that are happening when they've been using it kind of, that happened with the trivia night. So if you're utilizing spaces in the association as the summer months happen and as our events kind of kick up, please please access the email so that you know when things are running, if it coincides with times that you may usually have used for those things. And just to let everybody know, August is still being fleshed out for events, including the Olympics, which people have been asking about, that should still be running this year.
And I saw that a pretty fulsome listing of events for June and July went out, so that's great. Bev just stepped away for a second, but I want to give a special shout out to Beverly for taking on the Touch a Truck event, which was pretty cool and fun for the little guys taking girls. That's it, all right.
Lately, we're gonna do it stocking again, the bait fishing, the treasure and Davis. Actually, the treasure and Lake Louise, so it's on the minutes, no one said anything, it's been budgeted, so it's gonna.
757,000.
No, it's already in.
Those are in. All right, with that, that's all our committee reports.
Can I ask
our-
one thing about the events?
Yeah,
In light of what the homeowner was asking for the clubhouse, is there something we can work on when it comes to Zumba? And
I think it's a
relocating?
management issue, that was a concern that I had raised in oversight about a year ago, and with management, it was not clear the concern that was raised at the time was that when homeowners sign off for a rental, it's communicated to them by the office, but it does not say it in their rental agreement. So it is proactively communicated. Valerie does a very good job of doing that, but homeowners are often surprised that they can't get in there until 11. And we have fielded this issue and this conversation before in management. And so at the time, the discussion was, it has worked, it has always worked. There is not a great alternative space for that class.
Well, I have a carryover question to go with it.
Mhm.
So if a homeowner wants to rent the clubhouse on a Friday,
No, the rental was given to them after 11 on a Saturday. They get
if they want to rent the
Yes,
clubhouse for a birthday party on a Friday,
yes.
and
Not currently.
so we're kind of like inhibiting.
This is part of the agreement that I did not agree on when it initially came to oversight. We took away from the recommendation of the office that was theirs to avoid a lot of the cleaning issue that came with this, because we don't have cleaning on an ongoing. So if you have a party and you don't clean up well, we don't have staff to come in the morning to make sure that the yoga class is not dealing with the leftover.
Well,
of
why can't we move the yoga class to upstairs?
The problem with that was that we don't have the compliance with the pool house. And the spacing for the size of that yoga class gets to about 30 people in the center, and there's no other space that can accommodate them. And because it's become a popular class, we're kind of left with a.
I got you, not all homeowners are on Zumba, but all
Zumba's a yoga class.
yoga, but not all homeowners are participating in that,
In the summertime, if
but
there's,
all paying for it,
yeah, with any class.
right?
Could that be moved to the entertainment?
We tried that. It's not large, that space was, I'm just saying, I want you to address this.
Yeah, yeah.
If this is a management issue.
it really is a management issue.
And it had been addressed with management previously, that was the recommendation. If Nick has another great recommendation, I'm happy to take his opinion on that, and I.
Poolside yoga.
This has been hashed out before.
Excuse me, I missed part of it. You're saying that.
The management has to take this up, because it's nothing that we can resolve here. This is this is not a board level kind of.
So where is
All right.
the yoga held right now?
In the clubhouse,
In the clubhouse.
Up there,
right there.
over here, okay.
Okay, all right, guys, we're concluding on the committee reports. Thank you to all the committee chairs. Our next regular meeting is July 20th. And I just want to note that our 2025 annual meeting and director election will be August 17th. I believe we have 4 board seats up this year.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll send around an email at some point in the next several weeks to start soliciting resumes of anybody who wants to run, including any current directors who wish to seek re-election. We'll just leave it at that, and thank everybody for coming out. We're gonna do our executive session now, so I'd ask members who are on board.
Patrick, I just have.
I'd like to
one
motion to go
question,
into executive, do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, have a public item first, sorry.
please. Yeah, I just, you moved quick, I didn't get a chance to.
Okay.
What are we doing about hiring somebody to replace Chet?
To replace
Chad.
Chad. Yeah, let's talk about that in the HR piece in a few moments. Okay.
Great.
So
Sorry.
I second a motion. Yeah, I'll second a motion to go into executive session. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none on executive session. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Please, board.
Yeah, there you go, Alex. My mother made that.
All right. Folks online, thank you so much for joining us. If you could log on.
I will tell her.
If you didn't know that.
That's the way she thinks her.
This, it's
She-
very
she
good.
makes.
Big Johnny.
It's weather permits.
It's a good.
All right.
Yeah,
So
we
we all
have,
ask
we
for our
have to
birthdays
determine
and
who's
things.
running first,
Right.
and then we can go meet the candidates.
You know, the funny thing, she doesn't eat chocolate. Doesn't eat it.
Oh, like to, but this is.
Yeah, she doesn't.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Folks, thank you. We have a long executive session, so I really want to clear the room, please.
Divers with that.
Too far away right now, we're just gonna get that set up. The meeting.
Divers, no, they're not divers.
They're okay.
They're